Well, our speaker, you're in for a wonderful treat today. Yesterday morning, on my way to the center, if you didn't attend any of the workshops, you did yourself a real injustice. I guess that's the right word. You didn't do no good for yourself. We have had 3 presentations, and each one did a great job. But yesterday morning, I was on my way to bring the goodies, because I bring the cookies and then whatever Gary tells me to bring, that's what I bring. So I thought I needed to get battery for my watch, and I was kind of hungry. So the man put the battery in the watch, and I thought, I'm going to go somewhere just to get me something quick to eat. So I was at my favorite restaurant, one of my favorite restaurants. I can't tell you the name of it. I just cannot. And I said, I do not have a bio for this lady, Valerie Reeves, and I don't know what I'm going to sell. So while I was ordering my food, in come this angel. And I looked at this lady, I said, that looks like Valerie Reeves, to myself. And I spoke to her, she spoke to me, hello, how are you? And I didn't want to seem like I was getting fresh or anything. So I didn't want to say, are you Valerie Reeves? So I didn't say nothing at all. And I thought, if that was Valerie Reeves, I could have had breakfast with her, and I could have gotten all the information I needed. But I didn't do that. I said, I'm going to sit in my car and see if that lady gets in her car and if she's going to the center. Well, I'm sitting down reading something. I don't know what it was. Probably looking at something on Facebook. How did you guess Facebook? And all of a sudden, she's in her car. And she goes on, so I parked my car downstairs. And I said, I'll wait and see if that's the lady that was in the restaurant. And sure enough, there she comes with a ball on her arm. And so I go in and I said, I knew that was you at that restaurant. I'm so glad you go to some of the same restaurants that I go to. I don't have no information on you. Could you please tell me a little bit about you? So she says, well, da-da-da-da-da-da. So she told me something. She told me first she was from Nebraska, and she had 4 children, but she didn't tell me what they were. But as the day went on, I found out she has 3 boys and 1 daughter, and she's going to be a grandmother very soon. And she trained at many churches of religious science, mostly United. But when she said the key word, I trained under Maureen Hort, I said, that's it. That's a star. She was staff minister with Joan McCall. Most of us know Joan McCall at her church. And now she's senior minister at the Apple Valley Church. Welcome to the stage, I can say my friend, my fellow restaurantee, Reverend Valerie Reeves.
Great. Good morning. Good morning. Well, I'm going to declare it is the best day ever. Yes. Yeah. So, how many of you jumped out of bed this morning and said, "Woo, it's a great day"? Okay, one person. It's really interesting to me because I've worked with children very often in my life, and kids are always excited. They jump out of bed and it's like, oh, new day. And something happens between the age of 3 and today, right? It's like, oh, I hit the alarm. It's like, oh, I got to get up. So I'm inviting all of us to make it the best day, to jump out of bed and say, woo, it's a great day. I started years ago when I was in a class saying, I'm alive, alert, awake, and joyous about life when I wake up. And sometimes it sounds a little more like I'm alive, alert, awake, joyous and excited about life. But there's always something wonderful happening. And thank you so much, Edward. That was wonderful. It was great. You know, you walk into somewhere and you see someone and it's like, I think I know him, but I'm not sure. And I didn't want to be fresh either. So great. That was the first time that I've heard anybody say that I'm about to be a grandma, and all I could think is, I'm a little too young for that. So My name is Valerie Reeves, and today I'm going to be talking about the power of you. This is a wonderful little book by Dr. Reverend Chris Michaels in Kansas City, which I spent a lot of time. And I was briefly introduced to the Science of Mind principles when I was in high school, way back when. Had enough religious science just to be dangerous. And yet it was a philosophy that made so much sense. So one of the things that Ernest Holmes says, and I love this because it was one of the first things that I was introduced to, is the science of mind is based entirely upon the supposition that we are surrounded by a universal mind into which we think. This mind in its original space, or original state, fills all space. I love that because it's in, as, and through, which was such a wonderful thing for me because growing up as a kid in Nebraska, feeling like separate, like I was different than everyone else, and maybe some of us have that where it's like, oh, everyone else is better than, or I'm not enough. I was really quite shy when I was little. And if they would ask me to read out loud in school, I'd cry. So I had to really push myself out of my comfort zone in order to do the things that I do today. And I remember listening to this teaching that every thought, every word, every belief that we have is like a seed that we're planting in the soil. And that's what's going to grow, which was such a great thing and a perfect understanding for me, having grown up on a farm most of my life. So my dad, he would plant wheat, barley, and corn. And once in a while, he'd have this beautiful field of wheat, amber waves of grain. And right in the middle of this beautiful golden wheat field, there'd be a corn stalk just shooting up. I don't know if any of you have ever seen that. And I'm like, Dad, what happened? And he's like, well, the seed wasn't pure. And that's what happens sometimes with our minds. Sometimes we're not purely thinking about our thoughts. We're getting caught up into our stories. I had read recently that 83% of our thoughts are the same thoughts that we had yesterday. So in this teaching, we get to come here together and be reminded of the power that we are and the fact that we create our own reality, which is a great thing. And that could be the good news and the bad news. Yay, I create my own reality. Oh yeah, I create my own reality. Huh. What showed up here? Evidently my seed wasn't pure. So the more we get really pure on our thoughts and very clear about what it is that we're wanting and staying focused on that, the more we have the opportunity to step into the picture. Because it really is the power of you, the power of me. In Chris Michaels' book, he has this wonderful saying, because we are all connected to each other, it's the great big web of life. Every time you choose love over hatred, that choice affects all of us. Now, when I read that, it made me think about The 100th Monkey. Any of you read The 100th Monkey? All right, so it's a book way back in the day, The 100th Monkey. Ken Keyes wrote this book about these scientists that were studying monkeys. And they were on this remote island, and every day they would roll some sweet potatoes out to the monkeys. And one day, one of the sweet potatoes rolled into the water. And the little monkey thought, oh, he must have thought, I'm assuming, it tastes so much better without the sand. So he started showing his monkey friends and his monkey family, and pretty soon it reached the critical mass, or the 100th monkey. And all of a sudden, monkeys all over the world were washing off their sweet potatoes. It's all about the connection. And there's been debate about that being true or not true. I'm knowing that it is true, and that's why we do the prayer for peace. Many centers, many religions do a prayer for peace at the end of the year, knowing that when we hit that critical mass, I know Les Brown says, an old African proverb, if there's no enemy within, the enemy outside can do us no harm. And the more we get to that peaceful state within inside ourselves, the more we connect to each and every person out there. And now we're seeing the connections. In fact, quantum physics scientists, people out in the world are learning what we've been teaching for years, which is that nothing is solid here. Everything's energy. So tapping into that energy of life is good and life is very good, and not getting caught up into a story of yesterday. It's like getting in your car and setting the GPS. And the nice thing about the GPS, the global, the mapping system that gets us from one place to another, I don't know what we did before that, right? Google Maps and such, I'm not sure. But it doesn't ask me, where have you been? It only says, where are you and where are you going? I love that, right? It doesn't let me get caught up into the story of yesterday. It just says, where are you and where are you going? Which is really all that we need to know. So having been introduced to this teaching, I learned about the power of words, and I was able to go back and look at things that had happened in my life. Any of you ever do that? Take a look at stuff that happened in your life, and it's like, oh yeah, previously my thoughts were this, this, and this. So when I was in high school, introduced to this teaching, the movie Grease had actually just come out. And my sister and I watched it over and over, and there was a line in the movie that one of the girls said in the cafeteria. She said it with a New Jersey accent, and I said it over and over and over again until I drove my sister bananas. Forget about that. I'll tell you what the line is in just a few moments, but fast forward 5 years into the future. I was engaged to be married. We owned a restaurant together. And I had picked out a very expensive diamond. Yeah, if you're going to have it, you might as well have a big one, right? So we had the diamond on layaway, and we'd make payments every month. On my birthday, my fiancé decided to surprise me with the diamond. And he came into the restaurant where I was working. It hadn't been sized yet, but oh my gosh, I'm showing everyone my diamond, running around, and then, as you do in restaurants, you get busy. So I'm running around, taking orders, shaking hands, kissing babies, flipping burgers, setting up the salad bar, making salad. I threw away some trash. My diamond was gone already. So I'm backtracking everything, going from table to table, going through the salad bar, could not find it. Hours had gone by. I'm making everyone look for this thing. I kept remembering my mother always said, nothing's ever lost, it's only misplaced. So I went home, cried myself to sleep, got up the next morning, looking around again, still couldn't find it. Now, the day before, I had made about 10 salads. Potato salad, macaroni salad, jello salad, carrot salad, you name it, I had made it. So I'm putting the salad bar together. There's my diamond in the macaroni salad. The line I had said 5 years previously, I lost my diamond in the macaroni salad. It's in the movie Grease. It's a line that she said, but I had not connected the dots there. And my sister, who was very immersed in science of mind, I called her, and being the metaphysical genius that she is, she said, well, duh. Remember that line you said? And it's like, oh, wow, I had totally forgot. But it's like we throw those things out there to the universe, and when opportunity had a chance of meeting the macaroni salad, there it was, right there in the macaroni salad. So an interesting thing. My sister, again, being the metaphysical genius, she was living in she's still living in California. She's in Orange County. And she was driving from California to Nebraska with her boyfriend. She wanted to introduce him to the family, and she hadn't been home for a while. And her boyfriend at that time, his motto was, I always get tickets, I always get tickets. And they were driving his pickup, driving it back to Nebraska. And about Wyoming, lights. He had taken a nap. She was driving, and she was going a little too fast. He was taking a nap on the seat, and he jumps up, and he looks in the rearview mirror, and he said, oh, no, I always get tickets. Now you're going to get ticket. She said, no, I never get tickets. How many of you surround yourself with that kind of saying? Yeah, I'm always in the right and perfect place. And the officer came up, and she explained to him, I'm so sorry. I'm getting closer to Nebraska. I haven't been there for a while, and I'm so excited to see my family. And the officer said, I totally understand. I'm not going to give you a ticket. However, as he leans in the pickup and points to the boyfriend, I am going to give you a ticket for not wearing your seatbelt. Yeah. The power of our thoughts, so incredibly important. So making sure that we're being mindful of our words, and it's really easy to get to that space where we're just thinking about everything else, because we are in the multitasking world, and we're doing all these things, and sometimes our thoughts just get on that automatic. So one of the things that Chris Michael says in his book, The Power of You, because it really is all about the power of you, present situation is only a manifestation of your concept of yourself. If you want to change the circumstances in which you find yourself, change your concept of yourself, which is really change your thinking, change your life, right? So as we change our thinking about ourselves and allow ourselves to be in a bigger, better, more brilliant space inside our mind, because I don't know about any of you, but sometimes when I look in the mirror, I get focused on the little flaws. Any of you do that? It's like, oh, bags under my eyes. I was working with a 3-year-old, again, because that's where you find the most brilliance, because they're so pure. I had a little 3-year-old, his name was Colin, and I took a mirror in front of it, and I said, Colin, who's that? And he got really excited, and he's like, oh, it's me! Oh, when is the last time you did that? In the restroom with other people there. It's me! Get excited about seeing you. Eyes are bright and shiny, ready for the next great adventure, instead of getting caught up in the things that we do and say about ourselves. And the more we love ourselves, we lift up to the next level. And the more we love ourselves, we spread that out to everyone else. Because it's really hard to be around somebody who's happy and joyful and loving if you're in your stuff, right? So it's like you either jump on board with that, and then we create that drama and just more of that. And looking around at the world around us, it's like, all right, universe, what in me is going on to create that as a magnet? Let me let that go. Let me love myself to the next level. Chris Michaels continues, ultimately, nothing will bring you peace but expressing fully who you are. How many of you have ever wanted to do something and you talked you out of it? Anyone? Yeah, we can talk ourselves out of that. We can talk ourselves into our greatness, or we can talk ourselves into our lack and limitation. So removing the blocks and the barriers and trusting and having that time where we're going inside and it's like asking the right questions. What would I love versus what can I make happen? Because this teaching, this philosophy has taught me that the more I love myself and the more I stay focused on what it is that I'm wanting and choosing and staying focused on that, I don't have to make it happen. I just get to make it welcome. Like if you want the right and perfect relationship, clean half your closet, make space. Make yourself open for the guidance of the universe and tune into that inner knower, because that inner knower just knows, and it's guiding and directing us. So you gotta love books. I love books that I can just open up and say, oh, what can you tell me today? Many of the stories that we read in books, watch on TV, and hear in songs are similar. They're the stories of spiritual beings trying to make a world disguised as human bodies. They're the stories of our quest. It's really all about being clear on the stories that we're telling ourselves about ourselves. Because I have moved many times in my life, and what I found is that no matter where I go, there I am. And you can't really run away from anything because you're always with you. So it's running towards something or moving towards something and making sure that, why would I want to move? Why would I want to go somewhere else? Well, it's something that's pulling me. Intuition is saying, go here, step through this door, meet this person, know these people. So really tuning into that inner knower, and it's like not trying to hide or run away. Otherwise, we end up with same stage, different drama. Right? Because I know there's a lot of people in the industry, so you can relate to that, where it's the same stage, just a different drama, different day. And wanting a full, rich life, it really comes down to, what would I love? And then listening to spirit, that inner knower. And not, again, what I said before, not what I can make happen. Because many times we're just trying to figure it out. Oh, I just got to be figuring it out. Where we don't have to do that. We get to listen to spirit, that inner knower. With the power of you, Dr. Chris Michaels continues, spirituality is an arousal, an awakening. It is a call for the genius within you to come forth. It affirms power, present and in the now, ready for you to use. It ignites the divine spark within you, calling you to a greater life. I love that. Spirit is calling. It's speaking through each one of us. And it's real easy to get caught up into that comfort zone. I'll just be comfortable right here. Any of you ever get in that comfort zone? I remember my sister, when she put herself through college, she had been waitressing, and it took her quite a while. She finally got her bachelor's degree, and then she got her teaching credentials. She continued to waitress for 2 more years. This is what I know, this is familiar, this is comfortable. I kept saying, go teach, you're going to have so much more fun. Sometimes we have to just be willing to step out of our comfort zone, to move to a higher space. And Spirit is guiding and directing, it's calling. It's saying, grow, express yourself, allow yourself, let go of the past concept of who you are. Allow yourself to love yourself. Look in the mirror and see the brilliance of who you are. And when we do that, we support the world. As Rumi says, you are not a drop of water in the ocean, you are the ocean in a drop of water, which I absolutely love. It's like everything that's in the universe is in through each one of us, that we can just breathe that in, that we can allow ourselves to dance and sing and play and enjoy life, knowing that it is the best life ever. So, looking at the power of you, and I love this little book, it's got like a little mirror on it. So looking in the mirror and seeing the brilliance and the divinity, and taking that quiet time where you get to go inside and say, all right, Spirit, now what? What's my highest and best? Knowing that life is good and life is very good, that we just allow ourselves to play full out. One of my favorite lines is from Emerson, who says, who you are speaks so loudly, I can't hear what you're saying. Who you are speaks loudly. So the more we connect with that, because sometimes people will just be telling stories, and it's like that, no. I see who you are. I see who you are. I see the brilliance. And the more we can see the divinity in other people, the more we can see the divinity in ourselves, because of that wonderful, beautiful connection. So, coming from Nebraska and having some of the experiences that I have, having 4 children, they are probably the best mirrors I've ever had. My oldest son is an actor, and so he makes stuff up, so I emulate that sometimes. My second son has his degree in psychology. He lives in San Diego, and he's always questioning me. He teaches me. My daughter is up in Apple Valley getting ready to have a baby. She is married to a California highway patrolman who does the helicopter runs up there in the sky. So it's pretty fun and exciting. And then my youngest son goes to Berkeley getting his degree in philosophy. And my youngest son, I like to call him my little Buddha. So he will, I'll call up frantic sometimes because I forget who I am sometimes. And I'll call up, I was at the airport once and I was complaining about my luggage hasn't come out. I was going off, and he said, breathing in, I calm my body. Exhale, I smile. So really breathing in the fullness of life, allowing ourselves to just be at that peaceful space instead of getting caught up into road rage or craziness or the things that are going on out there. I remember my dad once upon a time ago said, you really need to stay up on current events so you know what's going on out in the world. And it's like, no, I'm influencing what's going on out in the world, so I'd rather be that place of peace, because if I get caught up into the dramas and the things that are going on out there, then I'm just going to add to it. So even though there's things going out in the world, can I take a look at that and can I take it to a place of peace and say, what is mine to do? How can I most affect the world? Now, my mission in life is to touch lives in a positive way. And the best way to do that is to keep myself at a positive space. And not getting caught up into that judging. It's like, okay, there's beauty and brilliance out there. Regardless of how the appearances are, there is beauty and brilliance in absolutely everyone. Terry Cole Whitaker used to say, you spot it, you got it. So when I start to judge something, it's like, oh, I can see that only because it's prevalent somewhere in me. So how can I see the beauty and brilliance? I know Wayne Dyer used to say, go to the airport, watch a 747 unload, and think of something positive to say about each and every person that comes out of the plane. Or you could do that in a mall or when you're walking down the street. It's like, let me see the beauty, because if I keep recognizing the beauty out there, I'm going to see the beauty inside of me. And as I tune into my own heart, all right, Spirit, because that inner knower is always guiding us. What direction should I go? And I know that you all are making some important decisions, and I've been in the high desert for 1 year and 3/4. And what I've learned is that I do not love the hot, dry heat of the desert. And so I started meditating on that. It's like, all right, universe, where am I to go? Because I remember back in the day when my kids were little, and it's like, ooh, let's have another exciting adventure. My sister always says, your children are very well grounded for as flighty as you are. And it's like, I am not flighty. I am so grounded. I just have a young, excited energy about life, like a 3-year-old. I think as Jesus said, be ye as little children. And it's like, oh, we could look at everything in life like, whoa, how exciting. Life is exciting. Life is good. And I remember my 2 youngest, Andrew and Bridget, we laid out a map, and we were throwing pennies at the map, and it's like, wherever it lands, that's where we're going to move. So it lands in Michigan, Delaware. It's like, nope, let's do it again. Do-over, do-over. It was a do-over until it got to California, because we all knew that that was our home, and that's where we all reside. So being a mother is probably my greatest joy. I love and adore my children. I love and adore people. So I'm a people person. And I'm knowing that with the decisions that you all have to make, that whatever is highest and best will be perfect for each one of the candidates I know are brilliant, just like me. That's the Buddhist thing, right? They say, tag on just like me after everything that you say. So I see the beauty and brilliance in all of you, just like me. Right? Which I would like to use as a homework assignment this week. So a charge to each of you that every time you say something, tag on that just like me. The other charge that I have for you, and hopefully it'll come up here because I'm not seeing it. This week, embrace the power of you. Be mindful of your self-talk, because a lot of our self-talk is so automatic that we are saying things about ourselves that, wow, we would not say about our worst enemy. So making sure that we are saying nice and beautiful things about ourselves. And then tuning into that inner knower, guiding, directing, loving, supporting us, because there's brilliance right here where you are. Regardless of what's going on, everything is in divine, beautiful, perfect order. And the more I affirm that, the more I know I'm always at my right and perfect place. And it doesn't matter what's happened in the past. All that matters is, where am I right now? And what direction do I want to go? So let's take all of that knowingness, the beauty, the brilliance, the love, the connection, and let's go inside our heart of hearts for just a moment, as we close our eyes to all distraction. Just breathing in the divine universe, calming our body. As we exhale, we smile, knowing that there is one mind, one beauty, one brilliance, one infinite intelligence that is flowing with ease, with grace, naturally, through every cell in our being. That we are one in this beautiful cosmic soup as we marinate in this moment of love, knowing that this is where we come to remember our essence, remember who we are, beautiful, amazing spiritual beings. Knowing that in this moment, each and every cell is vibrating at a whole new level, a whole new light, releasing anything that does not serve us. Knowing that the infinite intelligence of the universe flows with ease, with grace, with love, healing, guiding, supporting each and every step, each and every breath. As we tune into that inner knower that just knows that it knows that it knows that it knows the right and perfect steps to take each and every day, each and every moment. As we lift ourselves to a higher vibration, a higher view of this thing called you. Allowing the beauty and the grace right where you are. And in great, great gratitude for this wonderful, amazing group, we step into that space of gratitude. I am so grateful for this day, so grateful for this amazing life, so grateful for being a wonderful magnet for beauty, brilliance, love, wonderful connections, knowing the right doors always open at the right time. And in gratitude, I just release my word into the action of the law, knowing that my word is never returned void. As we all anchor this in mind together by saying, and so it is. Namaste. Thank you.